Just how far can you go in this life with only a grade school education? Well, quite a ways, at least in the case of a boy named Milton. He was born September 13th, 1857, to a family in Pennsylvania's Mennonite community, and he grew up speaking Pennsylvania Dutch. His dad had a tendency to leave the wife and family behind at their farm for very long periods, which meant young Milton became the man of the house. He learned lessons in hard work and perseverance. It also meant that he attended school on a very limited basis. He actually never got beyond the fourth grade. Apprenticed to a local printer, the lad really didn't take to that trade. So when Milton was 14, his mother arranged for him to be an apprentice in a very different line of work in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. 4 years later, he moved to Philadelphia, applied what he had learned from the apprenticeship, and started his own business. Didn't last too long. Milton was soon off to Denver, working there for somebody else, producing a product similar to what he had made with his own company. After that, he was off to New Orleans for a while, then Chicago, and finally settled in New York City in 1883. And there he started a second business, but that one went belly up 3 years later. So Milton returned to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and using a bank loan, he set up yet another company using the formula he had learned earlier. This venture was a success from the start, because he also had learned that selling his product in bulk was the best way to go. An Englishman visiting Lancaster placed a huge order to be delivered to his homeland, and that allowed Milton to pay off his bank loan and have enough money left over to buy more equipment and more ingredients. A trip to the Chicago World's Fair in 1893 led this enterprising young man to get interested in something that was considered a luxury at the time. His new interest led him to sell his Lancaster company, for which he got $1 million. Milton then bought 30 acres of farmland near his birthplace because that put him close to a big supply of that fresh milk that he needed. Then, through trial and error, he created his own formula for the product he had fallen in love with at that exposition in Chicago. And the company he set up then was housed in the largest facility of its type in the world. Back in 1918, he had transferred most of his assets, including control of that company, to a trust fund, believing the quality of his product and the well-being of his employees was more important than profits. He even built a company town and many other facilities, correctly feeling that would boost the morale of his workers. Milton and his wife escaped tragedy when they had to cancel an ocean voyage because he had to stay home to deal with business matters. The two were supposed to have been in a first-class stateroom aboard the Titanic. But instead, he lived to be 88, dying of pneumonia in 1945. His legacy for caring for others continues to this day through a philanthropic foundation he had created back in 1935. That company, the town, an amusement park, a private boarding school, and products bearing his last name continue to prosper to this day at that place in the Keystone State known as Hershey. In fact, the name has become synonymous virtually everywhere with milk chocolate. And Milton Hershey, with but a fourth grade education, stands as a shining example of what can be accomplished if you care about others, are willing to work hard, take risks, and never give up.